Hi everybody, today I'm going to be discussing a topic suggested by Tracy Osborne, which is hiking in a dress. Tracy noticed that in a lot of my videos I was hiking in a dress, and she was wondering about my experience hiking the trail, especially in the warm summer months, wearing the dress that I purchased for the trail specifically. So I thought I would give a little account of why I chose to wear a dress on the trail, what I liked about it, and whether I would recommend it to everyone else. Dresses weren't what I thought about when I thought about what I would be wearing on my hike initially. I thought that I would be wearing pretty standard hiker wardrobe, which is shirts, pants, athletic shorts, that kind of thing. However, in my day-to-day life, I strongly prefer dresses. I almost always wear dresses, and it's mostly a practical preference. I really like that dresses are simpler to put on in the morning, and they're just one piece, so they're easier to change out of and keep track of and everything, and that has always been my choice. So I thought that as I went along, there were some things I didn't like about my original wardrobe that I started out with, like the fact that as it got warmer, I was experiencing chafing with my athletic shorts. They were giving me some thigh chafing, and so I decided that having a dress would allow me to be cooler in the summer, and it would also feel natural because it's what I'm used to wearing pretty much all the time. So I decided to purchase a dress specifically for hiking from the brand prAna, which is an athletic dress brand that you can find on Amazon. I loved hiking in the dress, particularly in the flatter regions in the section of the trail where you don't have to worry as much about someone coming up behind you and seeing up your skirt. If you were very concerned with modesty while on the trail and you didn't want to worry about wearing the very tight bicycle shorts that a lot of women and some men wear on the trail, you could always wear a dress with the bicycle shorts underneath it and feel fully covered. I had more modest underwear that I wore when I was wearing my dress to avoid this situation. However, I didn't have too many situations where I really had to worry about it because I avoided wearing the dress when I knew that the inclines that I was going to be facing would be very steep, or when the wind seemed to really be picking up. So using those tips, I was able to avoid the majority of situations where I was worried about someone seeing up my dress. I think that's one of the biggest concerns with hiking, and as long as you accept that there are some days where you won't be able to wear your dress, and you find a dress that's probably about knee length, like mine was at least, you shouldn't have to worry too much about having someone come across you and see up your dress. It was nice to feel a little more myself while wearing a dress on the trail, since I basically live in dresses while off the trail. So that was a really nice transition because I had been getting used to the comfortable athletic clothes I had been wearing, but I just wasn't as accustomed to them. So I got to feel a little more at home wearing something that I was super used to wearing pretty much everywhere. Another advantage of the dress was that it was simpler to get dressed in the mornings. I could just change from my camp clothes to the dress really quickly because it's only one piece, and additionally it was lighter than a two-piece outfit in general would be. Another nice thing about the prAna brand or athletic dresses in general that you might not get if you're just wearing a random dress from home was that it seemed to be odor resistant, so I didn't experience it smelling bad or nearly as bad as my other clothes when it got wet or exposed to something that would otherwise make it smelly. Another major pro of the dress was that it made for nicer town clothes than other hiker outfits that I could potentially be wearing. So after it was cleaned, it just looked slightly nicer than a lot of the t-shirts and shorts that I had, which by the time I was around the midpoint were already looking pretty rumpled a lot of the time. So because of just the way a dress looks, it looks a little more put together, which is nice when you're going into a restaurant or something and you pretty much chronically will feel pretty underdressed for every situation. At least in my experience, if it's a nice place or even a somewhat nice place while on the AT, because you do tend to look a little like you just came off the trail, which is it's just fine, but it is definitely nice to feel like a little more like you fit in or less conspicuous when you're in town. I experienced 3 major cons with wearing a dress while hiking. The first was wearing a dress and then having a surprise rainstorm because a dress can be really a disadvantage in a rainstorm. If you ever get stuck in one, it's really unpleasant. This happened to me several times, and I found that the flowiness of the dress around the hem, which was so pleasant when the weather was hot and dry, made the dress torture when the weather was wet and rainy because it caused all the fabric at the hem that's loose to bunch up around my thighs and create intense chafing. So it was extremely uncomfortable. The other disadvantage of wearing a dress in the rain is the dress gets weighted down by the extra fabric getting wet, and so you feel like you're dragging something behind you while you're hiking, which is quite unpleasant. I would recommend, instead of having only the dress, bringing a pair of volleyball shorts or something similar, something tight, so that you can wear those when it's raining, because those seemed to me to cause less chafing than the looser fabrics in wet conditions. Second, the way the dress that I bought straps were caused some chafing on my shoulders unless I aligned the fabric of my dress with the shoulder strap of the pack. Because it was a scoop neck, it kind of came up at an angle that didn't really align well with the pack, and I ended up having several days where there was some serious chafe burns on my shoulders. I eventually got used to it, but having a dress with some sleeves or at least enough fabric in the shoulder area to cover the straps of your pack is really valuable when you're hiking in hot conditions, and you really do want that fabric, or at least I did, between the skin of your shoulders, which is all sweaty, and the pack itself. That's just going to make it a lot more comfortable for you. And in the future, on my next thru hike, I'm definitely going to get a dress that has a little more substantial shoulder area or sleeves so that I have this option. Third, the dress I bought from prAna had a built-in bra, which sounded great initially, but which ended up ultimately just being an annoyance. When sweaty, the bra would bunch up in a very uncomfortable way, and I thought that it was quite unpleasant to feel that bunched up feeling against my skin. The other major problem with the built-in shelf of it was that because it was inside the fabric, which was quite thick, the fabric of the dress, it would not dry out as quickly as the rest of the dress. So if I got caught in rain in the dress, the bra would stay damp for much longer than the rest of the dress, which is just really uncomfortable when you're already outside in the heat and everything is dry except the lining of your dress, which is still damp and uncomfortable and clammy. Enjoy the increased coolness and freedom of the dress. For men, the hiking kilt is a great option, although it isn't a one-piece item like the dress, so it doesn't provide that added extra convenience of only having one item to put on. But I saw probably more men wearing kilts than women wearing dresses while hiking on the AT, and a lot of the men said that they really loved them, and someone that I asked said that it was good for chafing. So it really helps to reduce your chafing, whether you're a man or woman, and you won't look like a freak if you're a man wearing a kilt on the AT, because they're pretty pervasive these days. Just a reminder that the prAna brand that I mentioned in this video is not my sponsor at all. I just personally enjoyed their product, so I just want you to know about it because I think it is a great dress, and I would recommend it for women who are interested in pursuing wearing a dress while hiking. It is not super cheap, but I was willing to spend the amount for the quality that I got. Thank you for watching. Happy trails!